Hello guys. Now let's start our lesson for the coming chapter in our novel The Trial. Definitely you know whose trial is it. Okay? It's Charles Darnay trial. If you can see now, we have a small talk or small hint about Tellson's Bank. Tellson's Bank was an old-fashioned place. It was very, very dark and very ugly too. Inside its ornable walls, the only men to be seen carrying on its business with great seriousness were very old. The owner of the bank thought that if it looked old, it would be more respectable. So they were very proud of its smallness, darkness, as well as ugliness. Now, the trial Charles Darnay. It was the trial of Charles Darnay. Who is Charles Darnay? The young Frenchman who was in court. He was accused of being spy, as well as of helping Louis, the French king, by passing information to him about the English armies in both Canada and North America. So, the judge called some witnesses to testify against Darnay. They were 6 witnesses. Let us begin with the first one. And who was he? The first witness was John Barsad. He was against Darnay. Definitely he claimed to be a former friend to Darnay, which wasn't true. He said that Darnay was in the habit of traveling between England and France on business that wasn't discovered, but he found out about it. And this is what he has said. He's supposed to be his former friend. Okay? So, let us see how did Mr. Stryver, who is Darnay's successful lawyer, prove concerning John Barsad's words. Mr. Stryver proved that Barsad, by asking him, had been in debtor's prison 2 or 3 times before, which made him to be accused of being dishonest, as he was a gambler. And this is definitely will be a positive point for Darnay against what his former friend John Barsad said against him. This is what the first witness, John Barsad. Let's move on to the second one, second witness. Let us see second witness whose name was Roger Cly, and he was Darnay's servant. And now let's read together and know what did he say and how was Darnay's successful lawyer tried to prove. Roger Clay said that the list of names of leaders of the English army and their positions were in Darnay's pocket and in his room. He added that he saw Darnay showing them to a Frenchman, in a French city, which is Calais. However, Mr. Stryver proved that Roger had been a thief before. And again, this is the second positive point that goes with Darnay's side. And it will help a lot in proving his innocence, to be not guilty, and prove that he is innocent. Mr. Lorry. The third witness is Mr. Lorry. He was neutral. He wasn't with Darnay or against him. He was just stating facts. Which facts? The facts were that Mr. Lorry himself traveled with Darnay on a ship. Mr. Lorry saw Darnay once on board of the ship from France to England 5 years before. And actually, these were the only facts that Mr. Lorry had mentioned. Another neutral witness was Dr. Manette, who was the fourth witness, by the way. I'm repeating, neutral means that he wasn't with Darnay or against him, just stating facts. Dr. Manette, he couldn't remember anything. He just traveled with the Darnay on the same ship from France to England, and that's it. And he was traveling with his daughter, Miss Manette, Lucy Manette. Miss Manette unwillingly and unintentionally as well was testifying against Darnay. What did she say? She said that Darnay told her that he was traveling on business using a fake name. She added that Darnay was exchanging some papers with two French gentlemen. Moreover, she traveled with Darnay on the ship from France to England, she said that he helped her father to find a shelter. So he was so kind to her father. And how come she was testifying against her will, against Darnay? So she had the feeling that that she shouldn't testify against Darnay, but actually unintentionally she did. Which showed that it was so obvious that she loved Darnay. Now, the last witness, sixth one. His name wasn't mentioned. He saw Darnay in a hotel in a town where there was a shipyard and a soldier's camp. After six witnesses who had testified in the trial of Charles Darnay, let us see now how Darnay's successful lawyer, who was Mr. Stryver, and his assistant, Sidney Carter. Sidney Carton helped a lot Mr. Stryver to prove that Darnay wasn't guilty. This proof showed how smart, how professional, and as well as how Sidney Carton, as an assistant to Mr. Stryver, how both of them succeeded in proving Darnay's innocence. Okay. Mr. Stryver, with the help of Sidney Carton and his likeness to Darnay, they succeeded in proving that they were identical. Who were identical? Sidney Carton and Darnay, which showed that the man at the hotel wasn't Darnay and could be someone else who was as identical to Darnay as Carton, and Carton was present in the trial. By proving that Darnay wasn't guilty, we end up this chapter, the third chapter, Darnay's trial, and wait for the coming chapter. Here are some questions for you guys. my lovely students, to be discussed with your teachers and for you to check your understanding. Thank you guys. See you. Goodbye.